Hey guys, welcome to Building the Burbs. This is Howard,
This is Sid.
and we have a very, very, very special guest, Lee, with the Highlight Reel. Lee, tell us a little bit about the Highlight Reel, and we can get into it.
Okay, well, thank you guys for having me on the podcast today. I'm
Yeah,
really excited to get to share about our business and honestly love Hatchbridge and what it's done for our business. We've grown a lot in the last year since being a part of Hatchbridge. We've been in business for about 3.5 years now. And honestly, it started with just seeing a market need. Obviously, everybody knows that video is the way to go when it comes to marketing, especially in the last few years. It hasn't just become a request, it's more of a demand from consumers. People really want to know, like, and trust people. And a great way to do that is through video.
absolutely.
Yeah, people are definitely more, it's generally seen that people are visual learners, so
Hmm.
it's much easier to consume visual content.
Yeah. And people don't like to read either. Don't give them a bunch of words, give them a good video.
Yeah, yeah. What kind of like got you into videos and video production? Like, is that something you always were into, or was that something later on?
Well, what's funny is I have a passion for people and being a creative. I always have since I was young, whether it's arts and crafts or creating things, writing, performing. I loved drama when I was younger, but never had any talent using a camera, editing, all of those things. I could envision what I wanted, but could
Mm.
never actually put it out in the world. And so that's where my partner and I came together. We were actually best friends first,
Cool.
and he was operating an IT company. I was operating a solopreneur business myself, doing personal assistant work. And I just saw what he was creating. He was just doing it for fun. And I said, "You've got to sell this. It's amazing." And he said, "No, I don't like the business side of
Yeah.
things. I just like to be a creative." And I thought, okay, well, I like the business side. I like all the people stuff, and you like the technology. Let's do this.
Just come together.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was so you guys like met up, and then what was really the how do I phrase this? How did things really get rolling?
That's a great question. I think we've had a lot of support and education and resources made available to us in our local communities. Without that, I really don't know where we would be, because starting a business is very difficult. It's one
Yeah.
thing to have an idea and talent, it's another thing to execute it. I would say where we really got a good footing is in our local community. We had already built up a lot of relationships with business owners and with the city and different folks like that. So they already knew our character and welcomed us and our business in. But then we realized we need more strategy. We need more education. We don't
Mhm.
want to just be employees of our business. We want to grow a real foundation here. So we actually got involved with the Cherokee Office of Economic Development. They put on a program called the NAV program, and it is adapted out of MIT. And it's basically a structured mentoring program where you meet once a month. We develop an agenda, action items that we want to be able to move forward in our business, and we get really dedicated help from seasoned professionals that have been doing this
Yeah.
for a very long time. And they really helped us put in those kind of structures and ideas to make them form a real business.
So did that kind of help with like the validation process? Like as far as like seeing like, okay, this is definitely something I could see that people need in the market.
Absolutely. When you're starting something, it's easy to say, "Oh yeah, everybody wants video," but who wants video?
Yeah,
And why do
exactly.
they want it? And how are you going to serve them? And how are you going to build out the structure and the pricing and all the things?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of just on that, like really building, like when you started interacting with customers, what was one thing you understood that they really needed in terms of like video production?
What I have found, a lot of folks make beautiful products and things that look good, but it has to be more than that.
Yeah.
And what we realized is that people and, the people of their businesses, they wanted to be seen on a deeper, broader level. They want to be connected with, they want to be shown authentically and not just create a product that just makes them look like everybody else. I think for my partner and I, we just really saw a need to go in deeper with people, to really get to know their heart, what their mission is, and how we can truly be a partner and support them.
And during those like early times, getting Highlight Reel off the ground, like I assume y'all came into a lot of challenges because, from my understanding, the video production industry is kind of it's a market where there's a lot of companies in that industry. So like, how did y'all go about standing out and those challenges that y'all did face? How did y'all overcome it?
Yeah, when I look back at our early days, and we're only 3.5 years in, so I still feel like I call us newborn baby entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
We're still in the infancy stage, but we did well because we just went in and we always stuck by our word. We always did what we said we were going to do, and we just always got in the weeds with people and figured anything out and really met them where they were at. I would say the biggest issue that we had in the beginning was not trusting ourselves, not
yeah,
trusting our own expertise. You know, when we would walk in to film with a client, I'll remember one of our first big clients was a dental office, and we were filming the doctors and the people that worked there and some patient testimonials. And we very much had in our head that we had to hurry up and kind of let them do what they wanted. And we were just here to support. And that's not what people want at all. They
yeah,
want a true partner that's going to come in that really is confident in what they're going to bring, is confident in how they're going to help them, and is going to guide them through the whole process. So that was something we really had to learn to step into that expertise and really, really show up for people.
yeah. That's very important. What you're saying, like being more than just somebody that they're paying, like being somebody that they feel that they can come to and it's a part of the journey that they're on. Like
Yeah.
I definitely feel like
It's kind of like when you go to the doctor. You don't want to go to the doctor. You think you know what's wrong with you,
yeah,
but you don't want to have to go through all these steps. You want the doctor to be somebody that's really there for you and is giving you the whole layout. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to be with you every step of the way. Here's your prescription. Here's your product. And
yeah.
and just being side by side through it.
Yeah, so when working with customers, kind of touching on that, how do you know how do you differentiate between knowing what customers want and then what you need to supplement onto that?
That's a good question. And that's different for everybody. I think for us, it's come with a lot of education in the last year of learning who do we best serve. And for us, we've realized in the video world, you really need somebody that is going to help you with your marketing as well. Because even though video serves a marketing purpose, having somebody who's dedicated in doing your SEO, launching it on social media, launching it on your website effectively, knowing who to go after first really helps us serve better because it doesn't help anybody if they don't have the groundwork.
So do you feel like that's probably the most important thing? I guess for any business, like, is the marketing aspect, like getting the a lot of times people think the product is kind of the most important thing, but do you feel like the product is the most important thing or the marketing side?
Oh, I am a bad person to ask these questions. I feel like it's all important. You don't have anything if you don't have a good product and
Right.
good service. I think that's pretty foundational, but also you can hurt your business and others if you don't align properly. So knowing that they have the budget to make this investment and it's not going to affect them in other areas, knowing that they have the support to launch the product once it's created for them. I would say in the first year of the business, that's a trend that we started noticing. So we had to pivot and really identify who would be the right types of folks for us to work with. Because what we don't want to see is a small business owner invest in video marketing and they post it once and it doesn't go anywhere. So even if they think they, are doing something great for themselves, they could actually be harming
Yeah.
themselves. And I think that's what's come with being in this for a few years now. I have no problem telling somebody, look, I don't think it's wise for you to invest in this type of video. It's not going to serve you. So just kind of knowing those things and kind of ixnaying them from the beginning, it definitely helps.
Good
I mean, yeah,
perspective.
that's fair. You don't want to be in a situation hurting both of you. So
Absolutely.
definitely want the best for each other.
Yes.
Um,
100%.
but yeah, going into let's talk a bit more about sales. So when speaking with customers, how do you go about sales?
Whew, I have always said that I'm horrible at sales. I don't like sales. I like people. But guess
Yeah.
what? We're all in sales, no matter what you're doing. Even if it's just talking to your mom and dad trying to get them to do something, that's sales. I mean, it could
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
from the time you're a child. We're always working on getting to our goals, right? And what we want. For me, I've realized sales is not about what I want. It's about making sure that I'm finding out what the value is that that person needs. Can I deliver that value? Does it make sense for them? Um, and when somebody walks through a sales process, they shouldn't be coerced. They shouldn't feel like they're being led to make this decision. We want people to feel empowered. We want them to truly feel like this is the right move for them, and connecting with us is only going to grow their business. And so when I'm in sales, I'm very much focused on what is the value for this person in front of me, and is it going to be good for them?
So, as someone who you said didn't really like sales, because the way you explained it, you sound like you were very like knowledgeable about sales, I guess, at this point. So,
Oh, well, I've been working on it, but I got a long way to go. I'm a newborn baby in sales too.
okay.
It's a journey.
Well, how did you overcome that? Like from not being somebody who was like, well, I'm a saleswoman, like somebody who really enjoyed sales. Like, how did you overcome that?
I will tell you, personal investment, investing in yourself, investing in education, investing in programming. Obviously, we're sitting in the Hatchbridge podcast studios
Yeah.
right now. I cannot count how many times I've told one of our program directors here, Graham Gintz, if anybody knows him and has met him and spent any time with him, then they know that he's a genius and he
Yeah.
helps people overcome all kinds of things in their businesses. But I will say for me, he has helped me see sales and my clients and this whole journey in a completely different way. And what he has told me, and it is true, you may not be bad at something. You
Yeah.
just don't have the tools you need. And as I've gotten older and as I go through this business journey, I don't like to tell myself that I'm bad at anything anymore, unless it's like basketball. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not going to have enough training to be shooting some hoop. That I can mark off. But when it comes to these foundational skills for your business or any goal you're trying to achieve, just keep pouring into the education because it works.
Uh, and kind of on that basketball thing, I play basketball, so I can get you right. Trust me, I
Okay,
got you.
we can do some training on
I
that.
got you. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll play basketball and we'll talk sales. How about that?
Sounds good.
Another thing kind of you mentioned is like being really involved in the community along with sales. So, um, your engagement with community, how much would you say that has affected your sales?
I mean, it's hard to put a metric on that, but I will say that getting involved in your community is an investment that pays off tenfold. And truthfully, it's not just about what is I'm going to get involved in, what is my community going to do. People can sense that from a mile
Yeah.
away. If you're going to be involved in the community, you have to really dig in and really show up to support people. I spend a lot of my time in the community trying to show up, to businesses that they're having a ribbon cutting, or maybe they're having an event and they just want some people out there that are going to be excited to learn about what they're doing, and they're excited to show everybody, or volunteering. There's a lot of organizations in our community that are amazing. I have teenage daughters, and so I try to show them your community, it can be an extension of your family in a sense. I know that these people care about me, I care about them, and it pays off tenfold when you have that kind of
Yeah.
symbiotic relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so I know you, like you said, that Highlight Reel is still relatively new, being out 3 years. But like, what would you say was like the turning point as far as like really starting to see growth, and expansion?
Truthfully, and I don't want people to think I'm saying this because I'm sitting in a Hatchbridge podcast studio, because I say this stuff all over the place to everybody all the time. But I'm not kidding you. This specific program, the frameworks that I'm learning, the education that I'm getting, Graham and Colin, I see Colin out here. Um, they have been just pivotal in helping me overcome some of these roadblocks. One, I didn't even feel like a real founder until I met them, and I had been
Mm,
running my business for 2 years. So that says a lot about what they do here and the work they pour into founders and entrepreneurs. Because when you can give somebody that gift, like I have goosebumps right now just talking about it. When you give somebody that gift, it can change their life, and not just their life, but I'm building this for something greater than
Yeah.
me. I want to leave a legacy for my children. I want to use my business to do good in the world and do a lot of big things. They have no idea how many lives they will touch, but places like this where you can get support as a founder, you can learn that you're not alone, that the crazy stuff you're going through or the thoughts that are in your head or the stress of figuring out strategies and clients and pricing, and we're all going through
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah.
there's support, and you can overcome all of that with the right people in your corner.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Are there any specific strategies that you utilize to scale your business?
Hmm. Specific strategies. There's a lot. I feel like we've got things going all the time. One thing I learned, from here, is you got to run tests all the time. You got to come up with things that you don't know if they're going to work out or not, and that's part of how you get to success is you have some failures, and they taught us that you have to write things down, you have to put it
Mm-hmm.
on paper, it has to be serious, and you need to reflect back on it, because it's easy to say, Colin has told this story a few times, that you can say in your head, well, I'm going to go do this, and if this happens then I'm successful, but maybe things change throughout that process and you still end up at success. You could say, oh, well, yeah, I knew that was going to happen anyways. No, you have to document it. Look back on your journey, see where things changed. How did you pivot? Because just keeping track of these things, it really helps you go forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. So far, like, what would you say has been the most rewarding, like, out of this process, as far as like just bringing people's visions to life? Like, what would you see has been like the most rewarding?
That question is very easy to answer. When we started, it was obviously seeing a market need, wanted to create beautiful video. It was very surface level. It
Yeah.
was, this is a great entrepreneurial idea. Let's
Yeah.
go do it. But it's turned into so much more than that. It really has led us both to feel like we are doing our purpose. We are helping people. I just think people are so special and they need to be seen, and not just people, businesses, organizations, nonprofits. They all have something really unique that they're doing. And for us, we developed a core value in our business through this process, and it's use video for good.
Mm.
We feel excited, and just it is a feeling that is really hard to express when we get to create a product for somebody that gets to help them go raise tons of money for, cancer, organ transplantation, or, helping single moms or helping children that need homes. I mean, there's so many deep
Yeah.
causes that the purpose is not just to be pretty and inform you, it's to drive action, it's to get people involved, it's to raise money. And when we see those impacts happening, when we see families getting support because their child has cancer and this video was able to open up a lot of doors for them, that is everything to us. And that is what we really enjoy doing.
Yeah. Seeing that impact that you're
Yes.
making. Yeah.
Oh, impact.
Yeah.
Impact always. People first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, would you say there's like a lot of contributions that you have that are like not necessarily like, it's like contracted work, but like, just community contributions as a company that you have?
Like that we do around the community. Is that what
Yeah.
you're referring to? Yeah. We, as a small business, we actually donate a lot of work because we don't like saying, I don't
That's
want the
real.
whole world to hear this, but it is true. And it's not just for everybody, it's for heart centered, mission focused folks.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get written by people in the community. They'll write us on our social media profiles and say, my wife is going through cancer. We really need a fundraising video, but we can't afford it. We're in life-saving treatment mode.
Yeah.
Some of the families we come across, they're choosing between paying their bills, going to work, heating their house. Like, how do you say no to those
Yeah.
things?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
for people
Yeah.
like that, we always want to show up in any way we can. It's really important for us that people know that they have a friend in the community and they know that we mean what we say. We're not just here to to say we want to give back. We want to meet people where they're at as much as we can. You know, we literally stretch ourselves to the as far as we can
Yeah.
go because it fulfills us.
Yeah.
It is a part of our passion. And with nonprofits, we have a nonprofit rate. We always give a discount, a true discount, not just a,
Yeah.
it is real. We give pretty significant discounts because we know that their money needs to stay where it matters, and
Yeah.
that's in the mission. And I know people say nonprofits have money. They do, but there's a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah.
So we get paid, but we also contribute a lot. And again, it makes us feel good in our heart knowing that we get to lay down at night and say, oh, we got to work with this family and we get to give them a little bit of hope through a video. Like
Yeah.
if that feels like the least we can do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. That's just, being able to, if you can help, you should help.
Yeah, that's what I believe that's what we're on this earth to do.
Yeah.
We're here to support each other. We're here to show up for each other as humans. And if we're not doing that, like, what are we
What we're
doing?
doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody plays a role, like, from the video production for fundraising for cancer. Like
Yeah.
that may not necessarily your company may not necessarily be giving them 10,000 to go towards it, but you're creating the video for somebody to give them 10,000 to go towards it. And that person might not be actually treating the cancer, but they're helping to treat the cancer. Like we all play a role. So
Oh yeah, and there's a
um
lot of people involved in that. Video isn't the end all be all, to make
yeah,
all these things happen. There's usually sometimes hundreds of people that are involved in a mission that are on the ground doing good work that make everything come together for others.
yeah. But every part is crucial. So not having one could, not be best kind of
Yeah.
thing. So like for fellow entrepreneurs that are seeking to go into the creative industry, like what advice would you give them?
Oh, do it. Even if you have to start on the side, even if it's not something you can devote all your time to, I fully believe, and it's not just me, I've gotten a lot of my strength from listening to podcasts and motivational speeches and really pounding stuff into your brain to make yourself believe I can do this.
Yeah.
Just start small. Start with one little step. Do it on the nights. Do it on the weekends. Fit it in wherever you can and just keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it sounds so easy to just brush over it, but you have to have the passion. You have to want it, and don't hold yourself back. If you're feeling that burning in your heart, it's there for a reason.
Yeah. Keep going.
Keep going.
Going.
And honestly, if anybody listens to this and they are wanting to jumpstart something or need encouragement or just want to bounce ideas off, I'm reachable. I find that's another thing in the community. We always want to empower people. We want to empower people to be able to do video for themselves.
Yeah.
If it's a small business owner that doesn't have a budget, I like to tell them, look, you don't have to have high-end professional video to make an impact. You
Absolutely.
can literally hold your phone. Here, my partner loves to help people from a technical aspect, send them links to equipment that they could buy that's affordable. He always offers to be on call if they have any trouble setting anything up, because we don't just believe that only some people should get to be creative.
Yeah.
Everybody is a creative in one
Yeah.
way or another.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're gonna take a short break. We're gonna have an ad for you guys, and we'll be right back.
This podcast is brought to you by Hatchbridge Incubator. Hatchbridge Incubator is a partnership between Kennesaw State University and the Cobb Chamber of Commerce. We offer entrepreneurs the programs, the support, and the accountability that they need to build their businesses. We have programs and we have facilities for them to use. So our new facility will launch off of Chastain Road in the summer of 2025. We'll have 9 private offices for companies. We'll also have dedicated hot desk space for them to work at, and we'll have an event facility there as well. Learn more at hatchbridge.com.
And
Ready?
we're back.
All right, we are back, guys, again with Lee from the Highlight Reel. So what's next, Lee, for the Highlight Reel?
Well, we are really excited about this year because I feel like year 3 has given us the confidence to really know who we are, who we best serve, where we're headed. just that clarity, y'all, it makes a big difference. So we have new processes we're launching, new sales type cycles we're launching, getting involved in different groups and organizations. The goal is just to keep growing, to keep serving more people, uh, we've really found that we love the nonprofit realm. We are really big into storytelling. So we're going to keep driving towards that and see what happens. And the goal is to get a team this year and expand a little more, and been doing some leadership education now.
Okay.
So that's very important. And my partner and I are both just focused on continuing education, continuing growth, continuing impact.
Continue building.
Yeah, absolutely.
Continue building.
Yeah. Are there any like technologies or anything that you see yourself implementing in the future as well?
Oh, technology. It makes me think about AI, which
Yeah.
obviously, we're probably not big fans of. The good thing is we've noticed our I've never seen AI recreate a product the way a human can yet.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Yet.
AI is great. We do use it for some things like audio cleanup, because clear audio is key. Nobody wants to watch a beautiful video if it sounds like crap.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say technology advancements, we're always looking at investing in the latest cameras, upgrading visuals, upgrading audio. Just, I feel like in this industry, you're just constantly wanting to upgrade or get the new tech. As far as software and stuff like that goes, that would have definitely been in my partner question, because he is the brains and the controller of all things technical. And I'll tell you guys, my cell phone, this is how not technical I am, which cracks people up since I am co-founder of a video production company.
Yeah.
But he calls my cell phone my internet box
Oh
because
my gosh.
I get frustrated with it, and I'm like, I'm for the people. I'm for
Yeah.
the people and
Yeah.
for interviewing and capturing their story, and he's in that technology
Technology.
land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with the AI thing, right? Like, has that ever been like an objection from people? Like, oh, why can't I just, instead of hiring you guys, just have AI produce my video or something like that? Like, has that ever been an objection for you guys?
Luckily, we don't work with that because our ideal clients are they're to a level where they've already been doing some marketing, they've already invested in it. They're looking for more of a level 2 growing their brand. They know that they can't achieve that
Yeah.
by using those kind of tools, luckily. But that goes back to what we talked about in the beginning of knowing your ideal clients, knowing what rooms to be in. Because if you're not aiming high enough, you might get the objections from folks that are really looking for something more DIY.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And there are a lot of companies that serve that, but the price point is different. The
Yeah.
deliverables are different, and what you get,
Yeah.
what you see visually is very different.
Kind of like you said, just making sure it's a fit for everybody.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Um, like also, just looking into the future, is there anything you would go back and tell yourself now that it's been like 3 years of the highlight reel? Is there anything you would go back and tell yourself?
Yeah, it's something I'm still telling myself, and that is to be more confident in what I'm doing, trust your intuition more. Sometimes we really roadblock ourselves. I've said it from the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. My biggest hurdle will be myself,
Mhm.
and just continuing to believe in myself, especially, I'm first generation entrepreneur. I didn't grow up around any of this. I, this was never a part of my vision until about 5 years ago, simply because I didn't believe that I had what it takes. I didn't think that I had any talents to even be here, which is crazy how much we can discount
Yeah.
ourselves and hold ourselves back from achieving our dreams. And really, my life changed when I listened to one of my favorite motivational speakers. He's still one of my favorite. His name is Les Brown. If y'all don't know Les Brown, you need to go listen to his stories, because he will make you feel like you can do anything. And he has overcome some of the most significant life challenges I've ever heard somebody speak about.
Mm.
It's mind blowing, but yeah, stop roadblocking yourself, get support when you need it, believe in yourself. I'm still working on that.
Yes, it's amazing like how much believing in yourself and just having confidence in what you're doing can change your life. Like
Yeah.
a lot of times people just kind of use that as I'm not even going to try, versus well, maybe I should try, and if I fail, at least I tried,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Um,
And we always learn from failures.
exactly.
That's another positive. In fact, some of the most successful people ever have failed a lot of times, been bankrupt many times, lost many businesses, Not that any of us ever want to go down that path, but anytime something happens, there should always be a takeaway that is positive to help you propel forward.
And you said 5 years ago is when you kind of like got that confidence, I guess.
Yeah.
Like what happened that caused you to begin having that confidence?
I think it was a perfect storm of knowing that my corporate job was never going to give me the opportunity to do what I was passionate about, which back then was corporate training. I've always loved people. I was very passionate about training people, even across in other countries, training them by Zoom and I always cared about them feeling like they were involved, feeling like they were seen as real people,
Mm,
which very much, translates into what I'm doing now. But
yeah,
I just knew also when you're in corporate, you have a lot of rules that you have to follow. And I'm always looking, my mindset is always geared towards what is best for this person that I'm serving,
yeah,
what's best for the people in front of me. And corporations, they have a lot of other things that they're looking at. That's not their core concern. And I used to go to bed many nights and I would lay down and I would think about that one person that had this file of something that they needed done, but corporate said, no, that's not the policy, and this person's being affected by it. And I don't know them. They're in another state,
yeah,
but I don't stop thinking about them because that's not what should have been done for them. And I just remember laying down in bed and thinking, I want to be, I want to have the power to do the right thing always and
yeah,
do what I feel is best for people. And sometimes you got to be in your own lane if you're going
yeah,
to be able to make those decisions. So it's very rewarding.
yeah, absolutely.
Are there any other like lessons that you've learned while running the highlight reel?
Hmm. I feel like we don't have enough time for that. Definitely don't. One I will say something that's made a big impact is I have always thought my entire life that I'm a good communicator because I can talk to anybody and I can talk a lot.
Yeah,
Well, that's not what makes a good communicator. And one thing I've learned in my entrepreneurial journey is clear and concise communication is kind. Telling people things quickly and efficiently helps things be more productive and move forward. Sometimes when you're working through conversations, you might leave details out or you assume that they understand different things or that they know the process or that just because we talked about something, surely they'll know everything.
yeah,
I would say that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned is communicate, 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 and work on that skill as well. That's the thing about being an entrepreneur. If you're going to do it and do it well, what I'm realizing now is the journey doesn't ever end. You
yeah,
always have to be hungry to improve, to learn, to grow. Because if you don't, you're not going to show up for others the right way. You're not going to show up for your company, for your clients. There's always things that we can do better for sure.
yeah, definitely. Um, and I always ask people like, and I think Sid just actually like if go back and um, you know, from when the highlight reel first started, would you change anything? On the opposite end of that, like if you did have a chance to see where the highlight reel was in let's say 10 years, like would you look, or would you rather just kind of make any mistakes that you might make or learn whatever you need to learn on the way?
Man, if that's a great question. That's a fun question. I don't, I know myself. If I had the opportunity to look, I'd be like, no, yeah.
Take a peek. Yeah.
Let me just take a little peek. But I've watched the movie The Butterfly Effect, so all that kind of
Hmm.
stuff freaks me out. What would change? What would go? You know, I fully believe that when you're filling your purpose and you're doing what you love to do and what fills you up and you're doing good work, whatever that journey looks like, you're going to land in a good place. I don't
Yeah.
know what 10 years will look like. I think I definitely would want to see. I mean, I've had 2 children and I couldn't wait for the gender, and that was 9 months. So I think 10 years, yeah, I'd want to peak.
Yeah.
But also, we do have a vision, and it could go in a lot of different ways, whether it's building this up and having it be a marketing company for other ventures, whether it's franchising it into other cities, whether it's building it up and selling it. I can't see that last one because we're just it just feels like
Yeah.
such a part of us.
Too invested into it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I definitely.
but that's fun. Would you look at your life in 10 years if you could?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No hesitation. I know, because it's just something you're always wondering about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I know that looking may affect that, and it may change what I would do, but it's just that curiosity.
One thing I've heard people say this so many times recently, so there must be something to it, is what is that 10-year goal? And now let's reverse engineer it back to today. So we
Mhm.
don't need to see the future, but if we have a clear vision on what that goal is, then we start breaking it down. Okay, well, if I want to do that, what do I need to start doing now? What are the steps to get there? What will I need?
Mhm.
Well, financially, education wise, location wise, partner wise, like what is that going to take?
Yeah.
And really start making a plan towards that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when you make that plan, just consistency. I think it's a lot. At least for me, consistency is a big issue.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to be consistent.
Definitely.
I
But
struggle with that too. Trust me,
yeah.
I think everybody does in one way or another. Even if it's not with your business, maybe you're inconsistent with your health. Maybe you're inconsistent with devoting time for yourself to do hobbies, or, we all have things that we want to work on and be better at for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just talking about consistency, what are some other challenges you faced at the highlight reel? Not necessarily like personal, but just like, um, as a business, what have you seen and what have you done to mitigate it?
Well, pricing strategy and structure has been really difficult from the beginning. I think that every business owner can relate to that. It's really kind of a lot of pieces that go all together. And for somebody, like I said, I'm people, business, I'm learning all of that. So anything that has to do with business structure has been difficult. We're learning, we're growing, we're definitely better than the beginning, but just even creating documented processes and procedures, even having just all of your books lined up so that and when tax time comes as an entrepreneur, you're prepared and you're doing the best strategies for your business and to keep your money where it needs to be and all of the things. Also, I will say this has only happened to us a few times, but continuing forward with a client relationship that we knew wasn't going to be good.
Mm.
Growing in the ability to have kind but firm boundaries, and also realize that sometimes you may get somebody who wants to work with you and they can really negatively affect your business. So, just having the confidence to foresee some of these things, have the ability to walk away from a project if that's what's needed. And like I
Yeah.
said, this has only happened like twice in the 3 years. But when those things happen, they're very detrimental sometimes and they can really kind of knock the wind out of your sails. So just getting more grounded in the processes, what you're really doing. That was a lot. That was a struggle, and it's something we're still working through.
And like, what differentiates, right? Like a client who is negatively impacting your business, um, versus a client that, maybe there's just some miscommunication, or it's taking some warming up to, like, because I know sometimes when you're in it, it's kind of hard to tell the difference. But in
Hmm.
hindsight, like, what would you say is the difference?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Really good question. And When I'm talking about these instances, I'm not talking about a miscommunication issue or somebody was grumpy one day or, something like that. One thing that I have noticed that I will hold very dear to me is these two clients that there was an issue with. I saw the way they treated other people first
Mm.
and I ignored it. I saw the way they treated their staff. I saw the way they treated their spouse or their
Mhm.
business partner. And one thing I've learned is that I will not work with anybody ever again if they are nasty or disrespectful to people that they work with, because I was naive and I thought, well, they're in this day to
Yeah.
day together and maybe it was a bad day, but there were clear signs and understanding that this is just a character issue. And I think when you can start identifying those types of things, it helps you really steer clear of people, because everybody's going to have a bad day.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to mess up. We don't have to, like I tell my kids, we don't all agree all the time. That's not what we're here for. But there's a healthy way to do it and there's a respectful way to do it. And so I would just say really listening to that gut. And if somebody gives you a feeling like, oh, this isn't going to be good, don't think you're going to be special and different. Just maybe walk away.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely play it safe.
Yes.
If you know what's gonna happen, don't walk into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when somebody starts having those behaviors, it's not like, for me, and my business mentors did tell me that this is a muscle I need to develop more emotional strength, not taking it so to heart. I'm a big empath. So
Yeah.
when things like that happen, it really affects me. Hopefully I don't have to go through a lot of those scenarios in life, but just, I do know now that will affect me in a really deep way. That's not going to allow me to show up for others the way I need to. It's not even going to allow me to show up in my household the way I need to. It really is a snowball effect when you have bad energy or the
Absolutely.
wrong people around.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
especially having a small business. Kind of you're working very closely with people. So,
Very. We're besties when we're together, because we're getting so personal,
Yeah.
and it's a big deal to carry out something that really shows these deep meanings and messages.
And I guess like when you are a small business, especially like when you're first starting and trying to get those first initial clients, like
Yes.
it's hard to, even if you do see that, it's like, oh,
And that's when it happened, was the
oh,
first year of business.
yeah,
Yes. Because, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. As a new entrepreneur, you're wondering, am I going to keep the
yep,
lights on next month sometimes?
yeah,
You really want to grow and you want to learn. And so you think, oh, I'll take on anything really
yeah,
that fits a certain level of boundaries, but like, yeah, we'll do it for cheaper and we'll rush it, and oh yeah, we'll let you treat us like that, I guess. And but once that goes back to this ideal client and really aligning, once we did that, we don't have those problems anymore. I'm grateful to say um that's I don't think we're gonna have to worry about that anymore. I hope.
hopefully,
Yeah.
for us.
yeah. Like also just apart from tough customers, any other challenges?
I mean, yes, there's always challenges. There's my partner, I can speak for the kind of production side of things. It's been a lot for him to learn and overcome, because we do hire in outside creative help, but for the most part, he is creating the product. And some of these films that we're editing for folks, he could be editing for 40 to 60 hours for one project.
Yep.
One thing we had to learn is that we weren't pricing things correctly at all. We weren't allotting for enough time at all for the editing. It was bumping us up to delivery deadlines. There was lost sleep. There was all-nighters. There was stress. One thing too that's an interesting dynamic is my business partner is my boyfriend. So we have a family together. We have a house together, and we're not just in work mode together. We are having a whole nother life, which this can bleed into.
Yeah.
So one thing we've learned is just trying to have boundaries for ourselves. We're not talking about things at night when it's time for bed. We're not, we're giving each other space and respecting each other when we're in the home. Just because you're there doesn't mean I get to go talk to you about this
Yeah.
and that. We still have to operate within a certain structure. And I'm not going to lie, for the first probably year and a half, we wondered why things felt so awful here and there
Yeah.
because we didn't know what we were doing and it was a lot. So we've learned how to show up for each other, how to ask how we can support each other, how to give each other space, how to get advice, how to get mentorship regarding this. With Kennesaw State, we're actually a part of their Family Enterprise Center, which really focuses on the nuances of family business and how do we grow. And it's just different. It's a
Yeah.
different structure. So there's been a lot of challenges.
And it's just kind of like we said, that learning curve. Like you have to go through it. I think a lot of people sometimes they don't do stuff because of that learning curve. They're scared of it and they just don't do it. But it's important.
Yeah,
It's
it can
important.
feel intimidating, but when you focus on the overall picture, it feels insurmountable sometimes. I've learned just try to get through today, the next step, the end of this week, whatever it is, baby stepping my way through it all the way.
Absolutely. Got anything else, Sid?
No.
Done with me?
Is there anything you want to say to the people about the highlight reel or any immediate news that y'all have going on?
Something really exciting happened. We've been wanting to be able to put metrics to some of our films and show the impact in a different way. And we were able to make that happen in a big way. We just finished up a video testimony for a nonprofit in Cherokee County called Every Link Matters.
Mm.
It's a huge charity golf tournament. It's their 5th annual year this past year. They got their numbers back, and I was told that they saw a 15 to 20% increase in their donations, and that a
Wow.
lot of people referred to seeing the story. Again, it's not about the video, it's
Yeah.
about the story, it's about the family, it's about what people understood now from this organization, how they're helping people in the community, how they're going to specifically help this sweet family that has a child diagnosed with cancer. And to hear that, to hear, wow, okay, so it's not just getting people emotionally involved, it's not just having them show up. We are actually able to kind of track that donations do increase when this is done in the right way. And for us, that made us really happy because obviously we want
Yeah.
everybody to have all the growth that they need. So we're just
That's
looking
awesome.
forward to continuing. We've got a lot of partnerships with nonprofits out right now, and eventually we'd love to have a whole nonprofit arm where I've even talked about kind of running that whole division once we get the team built up. And we'll be focused in our small business and our corporate and telling those stories because they're really important. But yeah, just continuing down the path, looking to see how we can help people grow. And really, that's what we specialize in. We specialize in storytelling, videography, something that's going to make people feel, understand, connect, remember, trust, stuff that has longevity. It's not just built to live here for a clip on social media and then we're done with it. These are assets that are really meant to serve people for at least 1 to 2 years, depending on the project, and really keep people connected in the right way.
And where can people connect with you if they would like to talk with you
Yeah,
and
we're on
stuff like that?
Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn under the Highlight Reel ATL. The ATL is very important to add because if not, you'll get a bunch of sports clips,
Yeah.
which is pretty funny. We didn't look up our SEO before we picked our name.
Yeah.
So we did a DBA and we're the Highlight Reel ATL now. But our website is www.thehighlightreelatl.com. And all of our contact information is everywhere. And I encourage people, if you heard something and you've got an idea for yourself about starting your own thing, if you have been feeling an urge to be creative and you just want to talk about it, please reach out. It makes me happy to do that for folks.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Lee, for joining us today. Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for a wonderful interview.
Thank you so much, Lee.
All right.